Good evening, viewer. Tonight I'm going to tell you a bedtime story. Get tucked in, close your eyes, and listen to the tale of a man named Cesar. Cesar's story is one of immense struggle and great triumphs. For this story, we will not start at the beginning, because that would be boring. Cesar was boring. Until his mid-40s, you see. That's when his life, well, let's just say it took a turn for the worst. Today's bedtime story is sponsored by Tiny Build. Once upon a time, in a fictional 80s Latin America, a young man had a dream. That dream didn't lead anywhere, though, which brings us to today. Struggling to make ends meet, with only a few pesos in his pocket, Cesar needed help. One day, while browsing an old newspaper, remember those? It's the 80s after all, and newspapers were pretty cool. Cesar spotted a phone number that read 001-XXX. He knew this must be a sign. Or maybe aliens. Regardless, Cesar reached for his phone and dialed the number. Little did he know, this would change his life forever. Cesar took a long drag of his cigarette, steadying his nerves. The dial tone hums, then cracks. A man with a strange voice answers. Sort of let you down now, but it wasn't aliens. The stranger on the other end had a job proposition. On the surface, it wasn't a dangerous job. It was simply selling flowers. Oh, I can do that, Cesar thought to himself. Great, yelled the mystery man. Strange. You could hear the shock in his weird little alien voice. Mystery man did not expect this to be so easy, but lucky for him, Cesar was desperate. It started normal enough. A few small opium farms, a warehouse for storage, and some dusty dirt roads. Cesar felt a sense of accomplishment. This could be his ticket. Gone were the days of struggle. Now, dear viewer, you might be thinking, it couldn't have been that bad. He was smoking cigarettes. Those are expensive. And you'd be right. But remember, this is a bedtime story where plot holes exist and you'll need to just let the dream sheep keep on moving, because if you don't, you'll start to stress out about all the small details, and before you know it, you'll be wide awake playing Cartel Tycoon's new prosperity update till 4:20 in the morning, only to realize the sun's come up and you need to go to work in a few hours. And you wouldn't want that, now would you? Cartel Tycoon good. No sleep bad. So shh. Just listen. Within a few short weeks, Cesar had a decent opium operation up and running. He even had a bunch of other workers hauling everything for him. Opium field, warehouse, opium field, warehouse, aerodrome, warehouse. Oh, did I not mention that? Yeah, Cesar is flying the opium out of the country using the local airport. Resourceful. It ain't much, he often thought, but it's honest work. Now, Cesar knew it was not honest work, but it helped him sleep at night, so that's what he kept telling himself. There was a problem with all this money moving around, though. People started to get suspicious. There were huge sums of money being driven to and from the airport, and if Cesar was going to continue on this path, he needed to find a way to get all this dirty money cleaned up. Think Jason Bateman's character in Ozark, dear viewer, but with less money, a lot dirtier, no family, and a much uglier house. Otherwise, exactly like Jason Bateman. Getting quite creative and thinking back to one of the jobs he was able to hold for 2 weeks, Cesar had a light bulb moment. A taxi company. I could launder all this money through a taxi company, he thought to himself. That'll work. It has to. And it did for a while. This was all becoming much too overwhelming for one man to handle. Cesar was never sleeping. He was moving money back and forth between the taxi company front and the airport. It didn't help that he was driving a '69 Buick Riviera. This car, now don't get me started because my God, it was horrible. But it had a permanent stench of drugs and sweat. Not the fun kind, let me tell you. Cesar needed help, and it was time to hire someone. Through the rumor mill, he heard about a man named Tony Quintero. A tough guy with huge neck muscles that made you think, that guy's probably doing some very insane exercises to have neck muscles that big. Tony's exercise regime would be another bedtime story for another time, though. Those muscles would come in handy. All the dirty money needed hauling, and if there's anything Tony could do, it was hauling cash and hauling ass. As time went on, Cesar and Tony started doing better than anyone could have expected. But I must remind you, dear viewer, remember the man with the strange voice from the beginning? The one who could have been an alien, but definitely was not? He was about to make his grand entrance. And by now, your eyes, they might be closed. You've probably achieved a sense of calm while listening to my bedtime story. Your eyelids are getting heavy. Your breathing has slowed. Yes, this is what we want. You're about to enter a dream state. Mumble after me. Cartel Tycoon. Prosperity update. Cartel Tycoon. Prosperity update.
Prosperity Update has just been released for Cartel Tycoon. Major new features and a brand new mode are now available to all owners of our unique survival business sim across all platforms. Welcome to Survival Mode. No manual saves, a couple of dollars in your pocket, lots of enemies, and imminent death on the horizon. Are you ready to take on the challenge? We understand that a permadeath experience is not for everyone, and you want to play the game the way you want it. That's why we've updated customizable starting settings for our sandbox mode. Want a big load of cash from the get-go? You got it. Do you want to play normally but with all the buildings unlocked? We got you. Prosperity Update also brings 4 new types of residencies to the table. And changes are not just cosmetic. And finally, we're introducing Global Progression. Now you can unlock bosses, regions, residencies, and golden emblems for sandbox and survival modes by completing special challenges in different modes of the game. It will provide more customization options, and we hope you will truly feel a sense of pride and accomplishment when you complete the challenges. Prosperity Update is live, but our plans for the future of Cartel Tycoon are huge. Our May update was a great success, and after listening to your feedback, we have updated our roadmap and added some highly requested features to the list, like AI for enemy gangs that will arrive to the game with the October update. We at Moon Moose and Tiny Build continue to monitor your suggestions to make our game the best it can be. Thank you for your continuous support, and goodbye. See you in the lands of Cartel Tycoon. Follow us on social media and be sure to join the official Cartel Tycoon Discord to stay up to date on all the latest updates and share your thoughts about the game we're building together.
Wake up! Oh, there you are. No, dear viewer, you actually were not dreaming. You were not. Cartel Tycoon's Prosperity Update is out now, and you can definitely play it during your 4:20 a.m. binge session. I know you want to finish the story, and we will. Are you ready? Yes? Good. The Mystery Man. Remember him? Alien voice guy? It's time to meet him. It's time to meet Miguel. Okay. Doesn't quite have the same ring as Mystery Man, does it? But this is where things start to get shady. Shadier than all the drug and cash-filled vehicles running all over the place already. Mystery Miguel is dishing out crazy orders. He wants Cesar to take over the nearby seaport. That's crazy dangerous. Small airport's one thing, but now he wants us to smuggle opium out of the seaport? This guy's nuts. But Cesar needs to pay for cigarettes, so game on. Now, Cesar was not about to take over the seaport by himself. He knew just the man for the job. That's right, dear viewer. Tony Neck Muscles Quintero was on the case. Many lives were lost that day. You could hear the guns firing, bullets ricocheting, and only subtle sounds of Latin radio brought peace to the region. That was only the first step, however. Seaports had inspections to pass. It was not going to be easy to just throw a bunch of opium in a shipping container and call it a day. Cesar needed to come up with a plan, and what he came up with was absolutely genius. Kale! He shouted at his goons. Grow a shitload of kale. Now, in retrospect, he probably should have explained why, but his goons were dumb and did whatever they were told anyway, so it really didn't matter. They got to work, and soon enough, they had vegetable farms up and running. The goons, they took some liberties and planted a bunch of other vegetables too, and that was probably a good thing, because stuffing a kale leaf is near impossible, but Cesar doesn't think too far ahead. You might have noticed that by now. That's right. Cesar's plan was to hide the opium inside the vegetables. Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know. How would they know? How would they know? How would they know? I can't. Oh my god.
It was a few iterations, but soon enough, Cesar had a few fields to grow vegetables, a workshop for all the veggie opium stuffing, and a new route to the seaport to make some serious cash money. You probably guessed it. Things went well for a while, until they didn't. Again. Story of Cesar's life, am I right? The route to the seaport went through another city. That city had a mayor. That mayor was a dick. Mayor Andres Garcia at your service. Cesar respected one thing about the man, though. The mayor did care about what his people thought. In order for Cesar and his gang to take control, they'd have to get the people on their side. Once again, digging into the dusty metaphorical filing cabinets of his middle-aged brain, Cesar needed a plan, and boy, did he find the dustiest metaphorical filing folder in there. God, he thought. People believe in God. But surely he couldn't just call God and say, God, sir, please tell these people to let me run my drugs through their cities. That would be preposterous, obviously. So what's the next best thing? Build a church and pay off the priest. Great plan. Cesar wanted to be known as a pious guardian of the church. That would win the people over. And golly gee willikers, it did. For a couple dozen $1,000, the people accepted Cesar. Thinking his job was done, he returned to the mayor and told him of the people's newfound view of him. Simple, right? Nay. This was Cesar's life. Everything is difficult. The mayor realized that a ton of cash was floating around right under his nose, and he demanded a cool 30,000 big ones. There was nothing Cesar could do. He was trapped. He needed access to that city, and if it was going to take 30,000 US dollars in pesos, he would make that happen. Why US dollars, you might be asking, dear viewer? Remember when I told you about the plot holes earlier? Just shh. You paid the money. You got the control. That's what matters. On May 26, 1990, the same day Cesar takes over Puerto Roja, he is approached by Mystery Miguel once more. That's right. He's back. Miguel instructs Cesar to be ready to make a deal with his old contacts. This can't be good. But because Cesar has no backbone and he doesn't want to sleep with the fishes, he agrees. The deal goes over well enough, but Mystery Miguel isn't done toying with Cesar quite yet. Mystery Miguel is demanding payment for everything that's happened so far. Earlier on, you might have been thinking, where did he get all the money to build those first few farms? The sketchy taxi company, the warehouses. Oh, dear viewer, you are a quick one. You've guessed it. The money came from Mystery Miguel, and now he wants it back. Cesar was now faced with a choice unlike any he's faced so far. Work hard to pay back Mystery Miguel with clean money, or try to kill Miguel. Now, you may have guessed it, but Cesar is not an evil man, so the choice was simple for him. But how would that turn out in the end? Stay awake to find out, because the epic conclusion of this bedtime story is about to begin. 1 month, $45,000 of clean money. He could do it. He would do it. Nothing would stop him. Right? Miguel got right to work. He hired more people. He built more farms. He finessed his routes, and he did not sleep, did not relent. 20,000, 25,000, 30,000, 35,000, 40,000. But 45,000, that was out of reach. He couldn't do it, and he failed. Cesar only had one choice. He needed to run. Cesar pulls at the neck of his shirt, sticking with sweat, biting a lit cigarette in his bared teeth. He frantically attempts to stuff loose papers, false documents, and cash into a large duffel bag. All the while, he mumbles to himself. He bolts towards the light in the doorway, but he meets the black silhouettes of two men. The men take his bag, his phone, and even his cigarettes from him. Extracting what little money he has before scattering the papers on the floor, dropping the cigarette on top, and letting them burn away. Through the smoke, a bloodied and beaten Cesar can see another silhouette. Though he knows the voice before the face. Rich, smooth, and warm like fresh brewed coffee. Alien, if you will. The last words Cesar would ever hear were uttered by Mystery Miguel in that strange alien voice of his. Oh, how Cesar hated that voice. Thinking back to the telephone call that changed his life forever, the telephone call that led us to this, the end of his life. My apologies, Cesar, truly. I need a dependable partner, not some dog I have to train. I have big plans for this cartel. In fact, they begin tonight. But right now, I'm here to put you out of your misery. But is that truly the end? For Cesar's story, yes. But now Mystery Miguel has taken over because in Cartel Tycoon, that's a thing. Yep. One of your underlings pushes forward, but Cesar's legacy will never be forgotten. Where does Mystery Miguel's story go? I'm afraid that story will have to wait for another time, dear viewer. So sweet dreams. Check out Cartel Tycoon's Prosperity Update. It's live now. I'll have links down in the description. Thank you for listening to my bedtime story. Sleep tight.